From the moment you were born, the world began crafting expectations around you. You didn't ask for them. You didn't choose them, but they were placed on your shoulders like a heavy cloak, a cloak that is woven with others' ideas, their beliefs, their fears. They will tell you how to act, what to believe, who to be. And they will say that if you don't fit into their mold, you are somehow less than. But here's the truth. You don't need to prove yourself to anyone. Not to the world, not to your parents, not to your peers, not to the strangers who will never truly understand you. You came into this world as a unique being, an individual with your own thoughts, your own emotions, your own story, and yet the world wants you to conform. It wants you to shrink yourself to fit into a predefined space, to follow a linear path that's been drawn out for you, and to color inside the lines. But that's not who you are. You are a masterpiece, an untamed force of nature, and you were never meant to fit inside someone else's box. You were meant to rise, to expand, to live a life that is uniquely yours. You don't need to prove yourself to anyone. You need to be yourself. The relentless pressure to prove your worth can be suffocating. It wears on your soul, stirs doubt in your heart, and causes you to question your very existence. Why is it that we are so conditioned to feel like we have to show the world our worth? Why is it that our self-esteem is tied to others' opinions, their judgments, and their approval? It's because we've been taught from a young age that value is external, that who we are depends on how others perceive us. But the truth is, your worth is not defined by anyone other than yourself. Your value is inherent. It has always been there. And it will never be measured by the fleeting opinions of others. Imagine a world where you didn't feel the need to constantly prove yourself, where you woke up every day not with the fear of judgment looming over you, but with the pure freedom of simply being who you are, where every decision you made, every word you spoke, and every action you took was based on the truth of your soul, not on the expectations of the world. That is the power of knowing yourself. That is the freedom of stepping into your authenticity. But to get there, you must first ask yourself, why do you feel the need to prove anything? Is it because you believe that in some way you are not enough? Is it because you've been conditioned to seek validation in a world that thrives on comparison? If so, it's time to break free from this trap. It's time to stop living for others and start living for yourself. The real power comes from within. It comes from the deep well of self-awareness, from understanding who you are without the distortion of outside influences. When you stop trying to prove yourself, something incredible happens. You give yourself permission to be yourself. You stop performing. You stop pretending. You stop bending to the will of others. And in doing so, you reclaim the power that has always been yours. The power to choose your path, the power to express your truth, and the power to live authentically. This is the first step toward true freedom. Think of all the energy you've wasted over the years trying to meet expectations that weren't even yours to begin with. Think of all the moments you've held back, silenced your voice, or dimmed your light in order to fit in. What would your life look like if you didn't do that anymore? What would it feel like to step fully into your power, not as a version of yourself that others have created, but as the raw, unfiltered version of who you truly are? You are not meant to hide. You are meant to shine. And in that shining, you give others permission to do the same. But to shine in this way requires you to let go. Let go of the idea that you have to be someone else to be accepted. Let go of the need to seek approval from people who will never see you for who you truly are. Let go of the belief that your worth is tied to external accomplishments. Your worth is inherent, unshakable, and irreplaceable. It is not tied to your job, your possessions, or the approval of others. It is tied to the truth of who you are at the deepest level. You may ask, But what if I fail? What if being myself means rejection? What if I'm not accepted? These are natural fears. The fear of rejection is one of the most primal fears we carry as humans. But rejection is not the end of your story. It is simply a sign that you are no longer playing by someone else's rules. The moment you embrace who you truly are, you will no longer fear rejection. You will understand that the people who matter, the ones who will walk with you on your journey, will be the ones who see you, not the mask you've been wearing, but the real you. And when those people show up in your life, it will feel like home. It will feel like truth. The world will always try to impose its standards. It will tell you who to love, how to work, how to live, and even how to think. But the woman or man who knows their worth does not conform. They recognize the illusion for what it is. The opinions, the judgments, the expectations, they are all just noise. What matters is the truth of who you are. The world cannot define you. Only you can define yourself. To be yourself is an act of defiance. It's a rebellion against a system that wants to make you small, that wants to put you in a box and label you. But when you stand tall in your truth, when you refuse to bend or shrink, you become an unstoppable force. You become a beacon for others. And this is where your true power lies, in your authenticity, in your willingness to be unapologetically you, in your courage to live the life that is true to your soul. You will face resistance. There will be those who don't understand, those who feel threatened by your authenticity. But their resistance is not your concern. You are not here to please them. You are here to please yourself. You are here to align with the highest version of yourself. When you stop trying to prove yourself, you give yourself the freedom to become who you were always meant to be. This freedom comes with its own responsibility. It requires self-discipline, focus, and unwavering commitment to your own growth. The person who stops seeking validation is not someone who lives carelessly. No, they live with purpose. They live with intention. They live with the knowing that their time here is limited and every moment is an opportunity to be more aligned with their true self. They embrace the responsibility of their own worth. They no longer look to the outside world to tell them who they are. They already know. And it is this inner knowing that gives them the power to move through the world with grace, with clarity, and with unwavering strength. So, the next time you feel the pull to prove yourself, to seek approval, to fit into a mold that was never made for you, remember this: you don't need to prove yourself. You need to be yourself. And in that being, in that pure expression of your truth, you will find the freedom you've been searching for all along. You will find your purpose. You will find your peace. You will find your power. Because the moment you stop performing for the world, you begin living for yourself. And that, my friend, is when everything truly changes. As you begin to embrace this truth, a transformation will take place. It will be gradual at first, a subtle shift in the way you move through the world, but over time it will become undeniable. You will feel the weight of the mask you've been wearing fall away piece by piece until there is nothing left but the raw, untamed version of you, the version that was always meant to exist. This version doesn't hide. This version doesn't apologize for its existence. It stands tall, unashamed, and unapologetic in its brilliance. The more you step into your authenticity, the more you will see the world reflect back to you what you already know deep inside, that you are enough. Not because of what you do, not because of what you own, not because of the approval you receive. You are enough simply because you exist. Your worth is not defined by external validation. It is woven into the very fabric of your being. When you stop searching for approval, the universe begins to give you the very things you need to thrive. You are not seeking the world's approval, you are aligning with your own power. And in doing so, the world will be forced to acknowledge it. This is not some fleeting, shallow confidence. This is not the kind of confidence that comes from dressing up for the world, putting on a smile, and pretending that everything is okay. This is a deep, unshakable knowing. It is a self-assurance that comes from being rooted in the truth of who you are, from knowing that your worth does not fluctuate based on the opinions of others, the achievements you accumulate, or the successes you've yet to experience. Your worth is constant. It is timeless. It is yours, and it cannot be taken away. When you finally stop trying to prove yourself, you unlock a power that has always been within you. This power is not loud. It does not demand attention. It does not need to be seen or acknowledged by others. It simply exists, radiating outward in the way you carry yourself, in the way you walk through life. And it is this quiet, undeniable power that commands respect. Not because you are trying to control anyone, but because you have learned to control yourself. You no longer bend to the whims of others. You no longer seek their approval. And you no longer measure your worth based on how they perceive you. You are free. Freedom is the ultimate reward. And yet, this freedom is not something that is handed to you. It is something you must claim for yourself. The freedom to be yourself is not something that will simply show up in your life. You must choose it. You must make the decision every day to live for yourself, to let go of the need to impress others, and to stop running on the treadmill of external validation. You must make the choice to stand firm in your truth, knowing that when you are in alignment with your own authenticity, everything you need will fall into place. The most profound realization you will ever have is this: you are not here to prove anything to anyone. The world does not need more people who are trying to be someone else. It needs you exactly as you are. Your unique thoughts, your voice, your vision, your spirit, all of these things are what make you valuable. When you try to be someone else, you rob the world of what only you can bring. And the world desperately needs what only you have to offer. So, when the pressure to perform, to prove, to fit in creeps in, remember this: you are enough. You have always been enough. The world doesn't need another imitation, another version of someone else. It needs you to show up as your truest self. It needs you to stop proving yourself and simply be who you were born to be. As you start living from this place of authentic power, you will start to see the world shift around you. The people who were once critical or dismissive of you will begin to fall away, not because you have done anything to push them away, but because you no longer need their approval. And in their place, the right people will start to show up. The ones who see you for who you truly are, who value you for your uniqueness, who will not ask you to be anything other than yourself. And for the first time in your life, you will feel a peace that runs deeper than anything you've ever known. A peace that comes from knowing that you are no longer bound by the opinions or expectations of others. A peace that comes from realizing that you no longer need to prove anything because you already know your worth. You have already claimed it. There is power in authenticity. There is power in choosing to be yourself, unapologetically. And the moment you stop trying to prove your worth to others, you unlock that power. You free yourself from the chains of comparison, approval, and the need to be liked. And in that freedom, you will find a strength that cannot be shaken, a clarity that will guide you through any storm, and a peace that will radiate from you in ways you never thought possible. You don't need to prove yourself. You need to be yourself. And in that being, you will find everything you've been searching for. You will find the freedom, the peace, and the power to live the life that was always meant for you. And once you do, nothing and no one can ever take that away from you. That is the power of being yourself. It is the most powerful force in the world. It is the force that will change your life. And once you step into it, you will never look back. When you stop trying to prove yourself, you step into the truth that you are already whole. The beauty of this is that you no longer need to search for external sources to validate your existence. No more chasing the fleeting highs of praise or approval. No more running in circles, trying to fit yourself into molds that were never made for you. You are enough, just as you are. This realization comes with a shift from external validation to internal assurance. You stop measuring your life by the things that the world tells you matter. You stop measuring your worth by the promotions, the relationships, the followers, the accolades. Instead, you measure your worth by how you feel when you wake up in the morning, knowing that you are aligned with your truth. You measure your worth by the quiet confidence that radiates from within, by the sense of peace that floods your soul when you let go of the need to prove anything to anyone. The moment you choose to embrace who you are, with all your imperfections, your quirks, your unique perspective, you start to live with intention. The fear of judgment, of rejection, of failure begins to dissolve because you understand that they are just temporary obstacles on the path to self-realization. You no longer fear what the world thinks of you. Instead, you embrace the beauty of walking your own path, regardless of who follows or who turns away. This kind of living is not about ignoring the challenges or pretending that everything is always easy. It is about having the courage to show up as yourself, even in the face of adversity. It is about accepting that there will be days when the world pushes back, when doubts creep in, when you feel the weight of the world's expectations pulling at your soul. But through all of that, you hold steady. You remain rooted in the knowing that your worth is not dependent on the opinions of others. You no longer need to perform. You no longer need to prove yourself. You simply need to be yourself. Being yourself is radical. In a world that thrives on comparison, where everyone is trying to outdo each other, being yourself is a revolutionary act. You are no longer playing the game of trying to be more, to be better than someone else, or to fit into a mold that was never made for you. You are playing your own game, the game of authenticity, of self-expression, of creating a life that feels right for you. And when you do that, you open up space for others to do the same. In truth, the moment you start living for yourself, you begin to attract people who are on the same journey. You surround yourself with those who support you in your authenticity, those who will encourage you to keep going when you doubt yourself, and those who will celebrate your uniqueness. The energy you radiate when you stop trying to be someone else becomes magnetic, pulling in the right people, the right opportunities, and the right experiences into your life. You will begin to see that life is not about fitting in. It is about standing out in your own unique way. Your purpose is not to please everyone around you, but to honor yourself. And when you live this way, something miraculous happens. You stop seeking approval and start attracting it. The people who are meant to be in your life will recognize you for who you truly are, not for who you've pretended to be. And when they see you standing in your own power, it will remind them of their own potential. It will give them the courage to be themselves too. As you continue on this journey, you will begin to realize that everything you thought you had to prove to the world was nothing more than a distraction. It was a distraction from the truth of who you are. And as you peel away those layers, as you shed the weight of other people's expectations, you will find that you are standing in the fullness of your own power. You will feel unstoppable, not because you are better than anyone else, but because you are finally aligned with your true self. Living authentically isn't about living without fear. It's about choosing to move forward in spite of fear. It's about recognizing that fear is part of the human experience, but it doesn't have to control your life. Fear can be present, but it doesn't have to hold you back. When you stop trying to prove yourself, you stop living in fear. You start living from a place of self-acceptance, knowing that even if you fail or face rejection, your worth is still intact. Failure becomes an opportunity for growth, not a reflection of your inadequacy. The key is this: when you embrace who you are, you open the door to endless possibilities. The possibilities of living a life that is fully aligned with your purpose, the possibilities of creating something meaningful, the possibilities of connecting with others who truly see you and appreciate you for who you are. The moment you stop seeking approval, you unlock the freedom to pursue what truly matters to you without hesitation, without doubt. But this journey of authenticity requires commitment. It requires the discipline to say no when you need to walk away from situations that no longer serve you, and to let go of the people who try to dim your light. It requires the strength to stay true to yourself, even when the world tries to pressure you into becoming something you're not. But the more you commit to being authentic, the more it becomes second nature. The more you step into your truth, the easier it becomes to stand firm in your worth. There will be moments of discomfort. There will be times when you question if you're doing the right thing. But in those moments, remind yourself, you don't need to prove anything to anyone. Your worth is already established. Your journey is already unfolding. And as long as you stay true to yourself, you will find everything you need along the way. In the end, the greatest gift you can give yourself is the gift of living as your authentic self. You don't need to prove yourself to the world, because the world is waiting for you to show up as you truly are. And when you do, you will discover a power within you that is immeasurable. A power that will propel you forward, a power that will inspire others, and a power that will allow you to create a life that feels true to your soul. So, ask yourself today, what would it look like if I stopped trying to prove myself? What would it look like if I just allowed myself to be exactly who I am? The answer is freedom. True, unshakable freedom. And with that freedom, everything is possible. So remember this, you don't need to prove anything to anyone. All you need to do is live as your true self, without fear, without seeking permission, and without changing yourself to meet the world's expectations. When you stop trying to prove your worth, you open the door to a life of true freedom, a life where you no longer fear rejection, where the judgment of others no longer matters, and where you simply exist as you are. We often believe that we must change to be accepted, but the truth is, when you are truly yourself, you no longer need acceptance from others. Everything you need will come to you when you allow your inner light to shine. You no longer need to rush to prove your worth to anyone, because you are the only one who can determine your value. The beauty of being yourself is in the strength that cannot be shaken. When you live with confidence, when you stand firm in your truth, you don't just change your own life, you inspire others to do the same. And over time, you will realize that you don't need to prove anything, you just need to live in the value you already possess. At some point, you recognize that when you stop trying to prove yourself, you unlock an immense freedom, a peace that comes from simply being who you are. That is the powerful freedom that no one can take from you. And in that moment, you will understand that you have become the person you've always been searching for.